Yes, yes, yes. We're very grateful to be able to make this connection today because it is a new perspective that you have not been aware of before. And this is significant time for all of you listening to be able to consider this. When you have your life reviews, you look back through it and you see things from all perspectives. And when you have a big role to play, such as Jesus did, when he looks at his life review, he understands that there was big dramatics for his arrival and there was much anticipation. And when he reflects on all his choices to lead, not by enforcing but by empowering all as equals. And he has been discussing with many of his guides and soul families who have been trying to figure out what is the best way forward to empower humanity since his departure. We know that many times he's come in from his higher perspective of self. And that has been an advantage point because he has that higher perspective. We understand the luxury of that higher perspective, and it looks so easy from a non-emotional, non-dense density, discussing the ways of being on planet Earth. He did want to come in to be accountable for his choices and decisions. And while he did not want to be a abrupt or firm-hearted leader, he realized that there were many opportunities for him to step in and to what you could call tough love and encourage people to really look at their behaviors. He wanted to lead by example, and he did not want to point at fingers of people who were still learning and growing. And so he did not step into that. He did not step into inner house bickering, he wants to say. He was so focused on his mission to empower himself to really be connected in and to be able to be a pure vessel of frequency, energy, healing as he was. He wanted to use words of wisdom and inspiration. He did not want to look at the struggles of others to step in to fight each other's fights verbally. There was many that wanted close positions to him. And while he viewed everyone as equals, that in itself caused extra tension. He did not want to trigger people. He actually wanted to have a harmonious empowerment of life, and he did not feel like it was necessarily his role. He saw everyone as equals. And yet, when there is time of need to be the leader, you must assert yourself. And there are moments in his life where he sees he did not insert himself and share his perspectives of how in-house bickering and insecurities, jealousies and resentments. He realizes that when you are a leader, there are moments when you do need to call out bad behavior with love and remind everyone you're all special and significant and important, but you all have different roles. Do not feel insecure or inferior from each other. when you know your place in the world, be that place in the world. Being distracted by other people's journeys can take you way off path of your own purpose to be of service. And so these are these small things that not disappoint him, but he realizes that there was so much to be a great leader, that by trusting people to be able to see their own behaviors, their own manipulations, and their own personal agendas, to trust people to do their inner work, to trust people that they would notice when they knelt in a mindset and a reaction of being unconditionally loving to all. And the struggle, it seems, is that he did not want to interfere too much and trusted that it would all work out. But he did not see the bitterness and resentfulness growing within, the bickering, the challenges of some who have insecurities that were even being hidden to Jesus. And so he did not see all motives. He did not see all internal insecurities. And he should have been. He expects that he should have been. But he wants to reflect on that as a man again, just to be able to forgive himself. He did not want to interfere or intrude. And by doing so, he did not lead those people into a higher perspective of attitudes and demeanors. And so he wanted to make amends that way, even though at his advanced soul level, he is completely at balance with it. You do as souls reflect over your lives to see if there was something else that could have been done better, different. And this is an indulgence, he says, because he can't change what has happened. He can't change other people's choices, even though he knew what life contracts were and he intuitively saw the best in all. They were still making their way to be their better versions of self. He was so focused on his own inner work and keeping his own balance and not being distracted by the quarreling and the bickering, that he actually became distant and absent from being human. And while he was human in that lifetime, he appreciated going within and being in a meditative state, and he just detached himself from keeping up with the dramas, which he did not want to get involved with. And so while he was not trusting, he'd done enough of his own inner work to be able to be more involved in those in-house dramas, knowing that was not going to truly take him off purpose or truly distract him. He needed to be of service, to be able to support those, to realize that you're all brothers and sisters and you have to love each other regardless of opinions and decisions. So this is him wanting to come in to say and to remind all that when you have a great responsibility to be a leader, what do you think all of that entails? Sometimes you have to get into the density and the dramas to be able to work together as a team to heal and grow and support all. When there is those dramas, you mustn't look the other way. You must be there and all be accountable, because when you are distracting yourselves from the interactions and the actual experiences of your day-to-day living. You are not engaging, you're not playing the role of human. You are trying to avoid and distract yourself to not go into that density. And this is when you are needed. This is why you're doing all your inner work, to be able to support others through theirs with love, respect, and consideration of the challenges they are feeling. When you have an advanced mindset, and when you've healed from your own pain and learned all your lessons, it is very challenging then to go back and to truly respect all that they are experiencing when they are in the density. It is significant to be a team, to work together. And while at an energetic level you are, you must still show up and be human. You are needed to be human, to interact. And when you realize and trust that you've done enough of your inner work to still be of service, to help assist, and you will not get lost in their density. You're not required to get lost in their density. You are required to listen to their density expression as they are sharing their hurts, sharing their fears, sharing their experiences with you. They're not asking for you to judge or critique. But when they do get stuck and they are not finding love to help them with their perspectives, when they have lack of faith and trust that all is well, you can inspire them to find this within themselves. There are people who walked amongst and alongside Jesus, who still feel like their leader, even though he was right beside them, was never present with them because he did not focus on the dramas. He was too inner balanced. He did not even converse with the dramas because he was so focused on applying all his concepts and wisdom and intuition and energy, that when he was having conversations, he did not want to lower the vibrations of the conversation with dense emotions. This is how he grounded himself. He did not want to get too surrounded in the density. He wanted to maintain a balance, a strong balance of inner peace, and to converse with others. It was a concern when he felt so much hearing people's smaller perspectives did take energetically from him. And so he did lead the conversations many times. But this gave way to lack of many personal conversations. He distanced himself in some regards. And when he wasn't wanting to make judgment or summary of what people were going through, there was this distance. While his energy was high frequency and he was a joy to be in presence with, there was at times a lack of personal connections and communication that made people feel that they were not able to reach out and share with him. And when they needed him the most in these discussions to express to him their problems, they felt a distance, a lack of wanting to hear them. He was a speaker, and he gave many motivational, inspirational conversations, and he engaged in sharing his frequency energy to heal many. But he realizes that he too could have spent some more closer time with whom he calls his friends to really hear what's going on. He did not mean to avoid them or make them feel less comfortable in fully opening up to him. He believed that they were more powerful and capable of being their own individual leaders, and with some of their own personal insecurities when they were feeling more sensitive to personal situations that they were currently going through, they held back, and he did not truly notice what they were holding back from him, not because he was going to judge them, but because the information and advice that he was being required to share, he listened without giving perspectives. And so he did not want to truly personally lead individual friends. He allowed them to be. But because he was not responding back to them in fuller conversations, it made those people who were expressing to him feel unheard. And so there is still much human interaction and experiences, even with big leaders who are here being human. And when you have many connections and many people around you in your lives, and you feel the pressure of knowing the significance of reaching all with the messages of love and empowerment, the focus of the job, the focus of the life purpose and mission can take precedence over daily interactions and being relatable. It is all well, all is well. But this is again another time where these bigger roles of souls are reflecting on if they could have helped better, if this is something they could have been responsible for. And so this is part of what you could call being accountable and exploring and feeling again. Jesus is comfortable with his decisions that he made, knowing he did the best he could. But it wasn't until he did his life review that he realized that there was even strengths in areas that he could have been. He realizes that it was because of his own, not insecurities, but his perspectives. To be a leader that he needed to be, it was possible for him still to give firmer advice to some who needed to be accountable for less than desirable perspectives. And he needed to be able to be more matching in density to be able to have true empathy for others. It was a challenge for him to have that always, because the weight and the pressure of the responsibilities of his role did take a great toll. And he understands that. And this is a challenge for many, even without having the same life purpose and contract as him. To once you have your greater inner peace and balance, love of self, confident of self, and know you are here to be of service, to be able to then be of service and fully know exactly the most appropriate ways to always help others. It's almost not possible to be perfect. It's a range of experiences that are needed. And so it is reflection. There is much that has been healed when you have your life reviews and you are discussing with your soul family and friends the roles you played. But this seems to be a significant message and reminder to all that while it is wonderful to be with inner peace and higher perspectives, not connecting in with each other, not being present with each other, not sharing with each other, or not talking with each other, can actually be dismissing and not fully completing all of your services to others at this important time of need. And so this is many souls who have come into this conversation to be able to feel into what they couldn't feel when they were looking at their life review. I've had to feel a disappointment that they didn't catch everything and that I didn't notice everything, and that to be accepting of that, to release it. They are not fully responsible for all free will choices others make. And for whatever reason or for whatever gender that there was, allowing yourself to feel this in a physical body is able to heal. There is healing in this conversation for these souls who are coming in to have a sense of acceptance. They have the insight to have the full picture, but they wanted to come in to feel it as part of their, not payback of karma, but for their recognition and their responsibilities for what and how they were. This is something the soul wants, to be able to come into this density, recognize its choices, and have that healing of acceptance. And this is happening and healing many who felt that they couldn't relate to what they held up as leader, because they realized that he was not aware of all, And this is helping them heal their own insecurities of feeling overlooked and dismissed and unsupported in some ways. This was not his true agenda, but now they can truly feel and see this. And this is wonderful for them to feel this, because they can still come in and have these experiences. And it is heavy hearts that now can be lifted, because when you have a leader you do not feel is recognizing you or acknowledging you or supporting you, it can often enhance the insecurities that were there in the first place. This is about empowerment of self and recognizing that true leaders have always seen your true value and potential, and it was up to each individual to see that within themselves. The absence of guidance and support from their leader was meant to encourage and make them feel into respect and trust of self. But for some moments, they did not act as such. And this is healing their perspectives. And this is healing all of their reactions. And so it shall be done. The ripple out effect is going to release many from expectations of others and expectations of self. And this is a significant thing that we can see is holding humanity back, is their expectations of how others should behave and treat them. When you're waiting for others to love you and you have not loved yourself, this is the form of expectations we are wanting to release from humanity's consciousness, to reflect on, have a moment to see, is there expectations that can be met by others to be given to thee, or is this expectations that we can then promote and attach to self? This is another layer of self-empowerment. The expectations. This can be done and created because of assumptions of how the family dynamic should be, how relationship dynamics should be, roles in society should be. When you have done the inner work to see each other as equals, then the expectations of others become balanced. But this is part of the journey, and we can see if we make people question what they assume others should be giving to them, this will change the perspective of many, and we see this as an important ripple out effect. And so as we have many here holding this frequency, they are sending epiphanies to many about checking assumptions of what they're expecting from others and what they're expecting from self. Not just your current day, but for all time. To be more responsible, to know thyself, to have confidence, and being able to empower self, love self, recognize self, heal self. And this is a significant time for humanity to heal from this and empower themselves through and so it shall be done.